Hello and welcome back to the Calculator Review, hosted on Caliquin.com. Today is day 23 of Calculatober, and like my previous few reviews, this one also has a fancy intro, so I hope you enjoy it, and... This is the Sharp EL-1108. This comes from the year 1977, which is why I went with the 70s porno sound at the very beginning. It comes from Japan, so it probably wasn't really associated with the disco or funk era. Honestly don't know. But this is one of my favorite types of calculators, and that's the type where it's a fully desktop calculator. It has to be plugged in, and it's big, and it doesn't do any printing. These types of calculators don't really exist anymore, or they aren't really made anymore. And I think that's kind of a shame, because they are such a beautiful addition to a desk. I did some research for this calculator, and I got really curious about what the EL stands for in Sharp calculators, and it's actually short for LC, which stands for Extra Large Scale Integrated. So large scale integration is the process of integrating several thousand circuits on a single silicon chip. Essentially, this was the birth of the microprocessor that you see in modern computers today. So this had a very primitive version of a microprocessor in it. And so anything with the EL line has that extra large scale integrated circuit. So anyway, turning this on, it has my favorite kind of display. So this is already like in my top 5 calculators, because it's just checking all the boxes for me. It's got the green fluorescent display that is just really bright, and you'll notice I'm filming this at a different angle than what I typically do, and that's because, well, it's hard to see, but you can't really see what's going on from directly above, so I needed an angle where I could actually show what's going on the screen here. So anyway, well, let's do some calculations. So let's do 111 times 36. Beautiful. And it even has a little comma to indicate that it's thousands. It can be switched over to decimal mode, which... Oh, I didn't do it. Yeah, let me clear everything. There we go. Okay, so yeah, it can be switched over to decimal mode, so that way if you're doing dollars, you don't have to focus so much on hitting this all the time, and it will obviously automatically take care of all that for you. And it's really easy to switch things to negatives, so if I needed to add this to 63,000, then yeah. So that does lead to a fairly small problem, which is doing subtractions is kind of annoying. Yeah, so 63 minus 60, minus 3, I'm sorry, is 60, but it switches it over to negative, because what I have to do is, when I hit this minus button, what it actually does is make this number negative. So, let's say I want to do 63 minus 3, or, yeah, so 63 minus 3 shows negative 60, but it's really easy to switch that around, because all you have to do is hit the minus key, and you're back to what you want. It's also got memory, so 3.14 is my standard thing. See, and... Oh, I just hit clear memory. I meant to hit retrieve memory. 3.14. So, there we go. So yeah, And I assume that's where the integrated circuit comes in, allowing for memory to be accessed. Because, again, this came out in 1977, so this was a bit ahead of its time. This wasn't the first calculator to do these things. It wasn't even the first calculator by Sharp to do these things, but it was among the first. Um, so, yeah, I absolutely adore this calculator, and I found it at Goodwill for $5. So, obviously, with it checking all the boxes for me, it was a no-brainer for me to pick this up. One of the more interesting features actually has nothing to do with the fact that it's a calculator. I'm going to change the camera angle here. This is something I've never actually seen before in any calculator, and that's these two screws that are holding what it initially looks like the screws are holding this thing together, but they're not. They're actually holding in covers for clips. So I'm going to go ahead and remove one of them. So yeah, this screw just holds on this tiny, just holds on this tiny clip here, or tiny cover rather, and that cover is what holds this clip in place. So when these two are removed, there are no more screws holding this device together. You can take it apart just by pressing these outward. I thought that was really interesting because that is not a design that I have seen in any other calculator, I think. I haven't disassembled every calculator I own, so I don't know for sure. But anyway, yeah, so I thought that was really a very strange feature. I don't even know if feature is the right word, it's just interesting to me. Put this back together. So this calculator doesn't take any batteries, it just plugs directly into a wall. I see it listed as having a battery compartment on some websites that while I was doing research, and that makes me wonder if there was a different version of this that did include a battery compartment. I can't say for sure because there weren't any pictures showing the battery compartment, so I don't know. Maybe they were just mistaken. I find a lot of information on other calculator websites and the American Heritage Museum site. They probably go through thousands of calculators, so they're bound to make a couple mistakes here and there. So, yeah, I miss this color. This is one of the coolest. This is a color that I think electronics look great in. It's very classic and very retro, and I guess it's hard to call this thing retro considering this is from the 1970s. But sadly, I can't really find out that much information about this calculator. I have no idea what it costs when it was released. My guess is probably $100, but maybe as low as 50. And that's purely speculation. I don't know. But that's going to do it for this review. I hope you enjoyed this, and I would like to know what people think of the new intro, and if that's something I should continue doing. It's a little bit challenging doing this for Calculatober because it takes quite a bit of time to put all that together, but it is a lot of fun. So if you like it, I will continue doing it. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this, and have a great day. Bye!